I get this question all the time. Welcome back to another episode of the Google Ad Strategy Hub. And today we're going to talk about something that keeps coming up in my coaching calls. And I don't make a lot of content about it because I am, at the end of the day, somebody that is highly specialized in Google Ads. But here's the beauty of this. If you've arrived on this channel, you know that I talk about it all the time. I am more than just a Google Ads specialist. I'm a marketer. I'm a marketer at my core. I've been classically trained. I've been trained in SEO. I've been trained in PPC. I've been trained in social. I've been trained in all the platforms. I have just chosen Google Ads as my specialty. So today we're going to talk about what you can do as a small business that simply cannot afford Google Ads. So the first and most obvious answer is that you could choose another platform. Bing, phenomenally less expensive. That is going to be an option. And you could also choose something like Reddit, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's very expensive, by the way. TikTok, some of the social platforms. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to talk about just no ads, building a business from scratch, from your mind, where the leads just flow in and you have no problem and you're not spending a dime and you're just grassroots marketing. Sarah, why the heck are you talking about not running ads when you own a Google Ads channel? What makes you qualified? Well, I'm going to tell you. I have built my business with zero ads whatsoever. I always laugh, and I think it's kind of funny. And I remember growing up, my mom had her own business. And my mom has also, by the way, built her business on no ads whatsoever. And it is absolutely 100% thriving. And she uses a lot of what I've taught her. And she's 80 years old. So if she can do it, you can do it. But that being said, my additional qualifications to talk about this are also that this is how I've built my business. And this is how I'll always build my business. And I think when I thought about my mom, because I always forget how successful she's been using this method, what I actually meant to say is her business, she's actually a seamstress. And what's interesting is growing up, she told me it's so interesting because she actually started her business making custom clothing for people. If somebody wanted a suit in a particular fabric or to look a certain way with a certain fit, she would make that totally custom. And she used to tell me that she felt like it was a little, I don't know if it was sad or how she felt, but she felt like she couldn't afford her own work. So she was selling something that she couldn't afford. And I remember that really sticking with me because I could understand that. And I can really understand that today because ultimately I am selling people on Google Ads that I myself not only couldn't afford, but I wouldn't afford. That's not something that I would ever do for my business. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, again, what you can do if you can't afford ads. You don't want to afford ads, but you just really want to run that successful small business. I'm here for you. I see you. So if this is what you're going to do, the first thing that I want you to do is start making content. But you have to understand this point. Your follower account is not your bank account. That is really critical. The platforms have trained us. The prominence of that metric has absolutely trained us to think the more followers we have, the more views we have, the more everything. It's a more. It's a constant chase for more. And that if we don't have that, somehow we're not successful. That could not be further from the truth. That is something that you have to drop right now because it's actually not about your follower account. I have worked with tons and tons of people who have huge follower accounts. And if anything, it's a terrible thing because they're completely unengaged with no comments. And so a lot of times when you're looking at that follower account, and again, very junior mistake seeing from the outside in, what you don't know is how do they get their followers? Was it around like very viral content and then they switched to a business content later on? Was it something where they bought followers and that's terrible because they're unengaged and the algorithm probably hates them now and they aren't actually getting that many views, but that follower account looks big? And again, another factor is they could have been making a lot of what I'm going to talk about is transactional educational content that doesn't tend to convert. And again, we're going to get into that in this video. I'm a little less scripted today because I really want to give it to you like I would be coaching you, which when I'm coaching you, I'm obviously not following a script. I'm just answering your questions as they come in. So it's a little bit more train of thought today. So again, now that I've convinced you that you can let go of the follower account, you can make money with zero followers whatsoever, just pushing content, especially on YouTube, my friends, especially on YouTube. What I want to actually talk to you about next is the type of content. Because a lot like Google Ads, surprise, surprise, because this is marketing, it is not about those vanity metrics. It's about you guessed it, strategy. My favorite word. Okay. let's get started. Let's talk about the strategy and the types of content that you are going to put out there. And if you've been watching all my Google Ads content, it's going to look really familiar because we're marketers here. We're not just platform dependent, right? All right, so the types of content. So the first type of content that you're going to make is you're going to make a lot of attraction content. And I called this educational content when I first started this video earlier up before. I said educational. And I could call it a lot of things. Attraction, educational. You'll hear it called transactional a lot of times because of the state of mind that the person's in. And if you look at my channel, you're going to see that. So what types of things are these? What do I do if my CPC is high? What do I do if I'm not getting conversions? What do I do if my impression share is low? Those are very transactional pieces of content. They're very educational. What match type should I choose? These are users that are just looking to solve a problem, and my content happens to be there to help answer their question. This is amazing content. It's great. It's great for attracting an audience. It's great. It got me in less than a month. I have 60 followers. Wonderful. But here's the thing. It doesn't convert because a lot of times what ends up happening is the person sees that video, they get their question answered, and they go on. Do they subscribe? Do they want to hire Sarah as a coach for their Google Ads and small business and help them grow? Absolutely not. They just want to know the answer to their question, or they want to get validation to go take it from their boss. It's many, many different reasons. And so it's great content for attracting an audience and getting people into the fold. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really build your business and get a paycheck in for you. So then that brings us to the next type of content that you're going to need. And I am not going to give you any hard and fast rules here. You just need to make sure you're covering these bases. It's not about the percentage. It's about making sure that you cover each base. So I would say to start out, maybe a third of your content should be in each category. That would be a great baseline. But the next one is what I'm going to call your get to know me content. So for me on my channel, what types of things are this? When I do Google Ads Unfiltered, the stuff you never searched for, but I landed in your feed, where I'm just a little bit more unscripted. I would say even something like this, where I'm sort of like, all right, here's my advice. This is what I would tell somebody if they called me up, paid me for coaching, and couldn't afford Google Ads. This is where we would take this conversation. So this is going to be content that is very get to know me type stuff. It is a day in my life. I do most of this at this point on LinkedIn, although on LinkedIn I try to cover all bases. And the reason is my LinkedIn group of people is a lot of industry folk. It's a lot of paid search managers that are following me for my content, or just to validate how they feel, or just to keep a friendship going. There's any numerous reasons why people are following me over on LinkedIn. People from my professional network from a long time ago. And so you'll see me post over there where I'm like, I'm having a hot PPC girl summer, or I'll talk about how reading is important, or working out is important to maintaining balance of having a good life in paid search and in marketing. You have to feed yourself. You have to get out in the world to be a better marketer. You have to experience things, that type of stuff. It's the type of stuff that is really nurturing that audience and getting them warmed up and getting to know you, because nobody wants to do business with someone they don't know. They don't look up and say, oh my gosh, Sarah's video telling me which match type to choose was so profound that I'm now going to hire her as a coach. No, they watch one video, maybe they watch another, maybe I answered their question a couple times, then they're like, oh, this girl's interesting. She gets on camera with no makeup or glasses and sweatshirts, and she's chill, and I like listening to her. I want to get to know her. And then I might book a coaching call. I might go ahead and follow her on LinkedIn. They get to know you. So you need to have a lot of content like that, a lot of off the cuff type stuff. Again, if you look at my channel, I have some of that as well. And then your last piece of content, that is going to be really, really important. And that is your conversion content. Now, what I do for my conversions and what you're seeing on YouTube is when I talk about, I say I have a coaching client. I say at the end of this video, and I try to have a call to action, make a comment, convert, visit my website. Oh, I'm sorry. When I said convert, what I meant is book a one-on-one coaching call. It's stuff like that. So that is how I incorporate that type of content. So for me, all my content in both areas is very, very conversion focused. But if you want to make conversion focused content directly versus how I integrate my CTAs into my content, another really, really great way to do this is transformational content. So that's something like a case study. And again, I tend to incorporate this into my existing content. So I'll say, oh, I had a client that increased their click-through rate by 50% when they did XYZ. And so it's, here is a result that they want, and here is how I was in the picture to help my client achieve that result. And that is the type of stuff that really, truly does convert your audience. So what are you going to do if you're a business owner and you're watching this and you're like, great, I can't afford Google Ads. I just popped on this video and Sarah ranted and raved and told me about how she herself built this phenomenal content business as a Google Ads specialist, and I want to do that. Frankly, go out and make content. I think when you see content from me or you see content for other experts, you don't realize that there have been thousands and thousands of pieces of content that they've done that have absolutely flopped and failed and not seen the light of day. But the fact is, we've made so much content and we've gotten so practiced with it, and we've just gotten used to putting ourselves out there that you end up seeing some of the better pieces of content. I have videos that I never hit publish on. I have videos that I made 15 years ago. I have content that gets 100 impressions over in LinkedIn. I then take the content that I made on LinkedIn and bring the best to my YouTube channel. And then on my YouTube channel, I go scroll through my data that I see on YouTube and I find the spikes. And based on the spike, I'll take that little piece of conversation that I had there and I'll put that back on LinkedIn. I have at least 15 years of content behind me. I have blog posts over on PPC Hero. I have a year plus, almost 2 years now. I think I'll be finishing my last blog post for Search Engine Land. I have 2 years of content over there. I've blogged for Optimizer. I have been interviewed on thousands of different podcasts across the ecosystem. So again, I have this basis. So what you can do today, the very first thing is just start creating content. But my guess is that if you're a business owner or you've ever worked or anything, you have stories, you've talked to people in the past. So just start by documenting that. That is the best place to start. Document any success you've had, go through. And content creation has never, ever, ever become easier. My content flow constantly, I'll be sitting there in my PJs, drinking my coffee. I'll think of something and just write it down. Some of the best posts that I ever have were written just off the cuff because I felt something at the time. So don't be afraid. Just start putting stuff out there, even if it's small, and then just repurpose it like crazy for years and years and years to come. And maybe, hopefully, I will tell you, in an ideal world, maybe you'd never have to afford ads and run ads, because I don't necessarily, while I feel like it is the best solution, and there's no faster way to get those clients in other than to buy an ad, I know it doesn't work for everyone. So yeah, that's where I'm at. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe, comment, talk to me. I know that this was different than my content, but I feel like if clients are asking it on my coaching calls, I might as well just open up the conversation, have it with my audience, have it with you, and really get to the root of it. But again, if you would like to book a call and get this advice directly to you for your business, one-on-one, get my full attention, then reach out to me. All the links are in the description, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. Happy optimization.